Hare Krishna, my friends. Welcome to Bhaktiville. Friday night equals Srimad Bhagavatam here in Bhaktiville. So here we are. Last week, in reading the introduction, we heard about Lord Caitanya's adventures in traveling and spreading the Sankirtan movement, along with his philosophical discussions with various people. So let's continue reading about his adventures. We're on page 37 of the book, or page 59 of the PDF. Bhakti asks if I want him to do the slides. I think we're only seeing plate 5 today. Thank you for asking. Before we begin, let me offer my obeisances. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane. I offer my respectful obeisances unto His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is very dear to Lord Krishna, having taken shelter at his lotus feet, and to all the Vaishnavas in the world and the universe, Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. I also offer my respectful obeisances unto the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are just like desire trees and can fulfill the desires of everyone. They're full of compassion for the fallen, conditioned souls. Oh, I do need you to do the slides. You're right. Thank you. Yes, because we sing those 4 verses before we get going. So yes, please, you can do the slides. Still not a routine for me. We have a routine, but still not embedded in my memory what we're doing each week. Om Namo Bhagavate, that one first. Excellent. All right, so we'll sing these 4 verses before we get started. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim sarasvatim vyasam tatto jayam udirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayana, unto Naranarayana Rishi, the supermost human being, and unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Shrinvatam Svakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Vidyanta Stohya Yadunoti Suhrit Satam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, the Supersoul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Nashta prayeshvabhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. And there we have it. Thank you so much for the slides, Bhaktiville. All right, we are on page 59 of the PDF, and page 37 of the book. And just as a little recap, Lord Caitanya is in Varanasi, and he's been discussing philosophy with the sannyasis there. And after a very long discussion, let me just read a couple of sentences. The Lord thus established the primary importance of Srimad Bhagavatam Dharma, and he defeated all other systems of spiritual realization. Since then, everyone at Varanasi was overwhelmed with the transcendental Sankirtan movement. I'll keep reading. While the Lord was camping at Varanasi, Sanatana Goswami also arrived after retiring from office. He was formerly one of the state ministers in the government of Bengal, then under the regime of Nawab Hussain Shah. He had some difficulty in getting relief from the state service, for the Nawab was reluctant to let him leave. Nonetheless, he came to Varanasi, and the Lord taught him the principles of devotional service. He taught him about the constitutional position of a living being, the cause of his bondage under material conditions, his eternal relation with the personality of Godhead, the transcendental position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his expansions in different plenary portions of incarnations, his control of different parts of the universe, the nature of his transcendental abode, devotional activities, their different stages of development, and the rules and regulations for achieving the gradual stages of spiritual perfection, the symptoms of different incarnations in different ages, and how to detect them with reference to the context of revealed scriptures. Wow, that's a lot. The Lord's teachings to Sanatana Goswami form a big chapter in the text of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, and to explain the whole teachings in minute details will require a volume in itself. These are treated in detail in our book, Teachings of Lord Caitanya. At Mathura, the Lord visited all the important places. Then he reached Vrindavan. Lord Caitanya appeared in the family of a high caste Brahmana, and over and above that, as sannyasi, he was the preceptor for all the varnas and ashrams. But he used to accept meals from all classes of Vaishnavas. At Mathura, the Synodhya Brahmanas are considered to be in the lower status of society, but the Lord accepted meals in their families also, because his host happened to be a disciple of the Madhavendra Puri family. At Vrindavan, the Lord took bath in 24 important bathing places and ghats. He traveled to all the 12 important vanas, or forests. In these forests, all the cows and birds welcomed him, as if he were their very old friend. The Lord also began to embrace all the trees of these forests, and by doing so, he felt the symptoms of transcendental ecstasy. Sometimes he felt unconscious, but he was made to regain consciousness by the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. The transcendental symptoms that were visible on the body of the Lord during his travel within the forest of Vrindavan were all unique and inexplicable, and we have just given a synopsis only. Some of the important places that were visited by the Lord in Vrindavan were Kamyavan, Adishvar, Paban Sarovara, Kadirvana, Sheshayi, Kailatirtha, Bandirvan, Bandravan, Shrivan, Lohavan, Mahavan, Gokula, Kaliya Radha, Dvadashaditya, Keshitirtha, etc. When he saw the place where the rasa dance took place, he at once fell down in trance. As long as he remained at Vrindavan, he made his headquarters at Akrura Ghat. From Vrindavan, his personal servitor, Krishnadas Vipra, induced him to go back to Prayag to take bath during the Magh Mela. The Lord acceded to his proposal, and they started for Prayag. On the way there, they met with some Patans, amongst whom there was a learned Mulana. The Lord had some talks with the Mulana and his companions, and the Lord convinced the Mulan that in the Quran also there are descriptions of Bhagavad Dharma and Krishna. All the Patans were converted to his cult of devotional service. When he returned to Prayag, Srila Rupa Goswami and his youngest brother met him near Bindu Madhav temple. This time the Lord was welcomed by the people of Prayag more respectfully. Balabhatta, who resided on the other bank of Prayag in the village of Arail, was to receive him at his place. But while going there, the Lord jumped into the river Yamuna. With great difficulty he was picked up in an unconscious state. Finally, he visited the headquarters of Balabhatta. This Balabhatta was one of his chief admirers, but later on he inaugurated his own party of the Vallabha Sampradaya. On the bank of the Dashameda Ghat at Prayag, for 10 days continually, the Lord instructed Rupa Goswami in the science of devotional service of the Lord. He taught the Goswami the divisions of the living creatures in the 8,400,000 species of life. Then he taught him about the human species. Out of them he discussed the followers of the Vedic principles. Out of them the fruitive workers. Out of them the empiric philosophers. And out of them the liberated souls. He said that there are only a few who are actually pure devotees of Lord Sri Krishna. Srila Rupa Goswami was the younger brother of Sanatana Goswami, and when he retired from service, he brought with him 2 boatfuls of gold coins. This means that he brought with him some hundreds of thousands of rupees accumulated by the labor of his service. And before leaving home for Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, he divided the wealth as follows: 50% for the service of the Lord and his devotees, 25% for relatives, and 25% for his personal needs in case of emergency. In that way, he set an example for all householders. The Lord taught the Goswami about devotional service, comparing it to a creeper, and he advised him to protect the bhakti creeper most carefully against the mad elephant offense against the pure devotees. In addition, the creeper has to be protected from the desires of sense enjoyment, monistic liberation, and perfection of the Hatha Yoga system. They are all detrimental on the path of devotional service. Similarly, violence against living beings, desire for worldly gain, worldly reception, and worldly fame are all detrimental to the progress of bhakti, or Bhagavad Dharma. Pure devotional service must be freed from all desires for sense gratification, fruitive aspirations, and culture of monistic knowledge. One must be freed from all kinds of designations. And when one is thus converted into transcendental purity, one can then serve the Lord by purified senses. As long as there is the desire to enjoy sensually, or to become one with the Supreme, or to possess mystic powers, there is no question of attaining the stage of pure devotional service. Devotional service is conducted under 2 categories, namely primary practice and spontaneous emotion. When one can rise up to the platform of spontaneous emotion, he can make further progress by spiritual attachment, feeling, love, and many higher stages of devotional life, for which there are no English words. We have tried to explain the science of devotional service in our book, The Nectar of Devotion, based on the authority of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Srila Rupa Goswami. Transcendental devotional service has 5 stages of reciprocation. 1. The self-realized stage, just after liberation from the material bondage, is called the Shanta, or neutral stage. After that, when there is development of transcendental knowledge of the Lord's internal opulences, the devotee engages himself in the dasya stage. 3. By further development of the dasya stage, a respectful fraternity with the Lord develops, and above that, a feeling of friendship on equal terms becomes manifest. Both these stages are called Sakyara stage, or devotional service in friendship. Above this, there is the stage of paternal affection toward the Lord, and this is called the Vatsalya stage. 5. And above this stage, there is the stage of conjugal love. This stage is called the highest stage of love of God, although there is no difference in quality in any of the above stages. The last stage is conjugal love of God, and it is called Madhurya stage. Thus, he instructed Rupa Goswami in devotional science and deputed him to Vrindavan to excavate the lost sites of the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. After this, the Lord returned to Varanasi and delivered the sannyasis and instructed the elder brother of Rupa Goswami. We have already discussed this. The Lord left only 8 shlokas of his instructions in writing, and they are known as Shikshastakam. All other literatures of his divine cult were extensively written by the Lord's principal followers, the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan and their followers. The cult of Chaitanya philosophy is richer than any other, and it is admitted to be the living religion of the day, with the potency for spreading as Vishvadharma, or universal religion. We are glad that the matter has been taken up by some enthusiastic sages like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, and his disciples. We shall eagerly wait for the happy days of Bhagavad Dharma or Prema Dharma, inaugurated by Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. The 8 shlokas completed by the Lord, here in English, are: Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. 2. O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by chanting your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. 3. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. 4. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. 5. O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms of your lotus feet. 6. O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? 7. O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. 8. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so, even if he handles me roughly in his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally. Jai, Lord Caitanya ki jai. I'm going to take a little break and drink some water. I'll be right back. All right. Well, that was just a great introduction, even though it went on for a while. But I love how he was able to succinctly give us the life of Lord Caitanya. That was great. But so now, here we go. We're ready. This is verse 1. It's quite long. The purport also is quite long. I've listened to Srila Prabhupada chanting this, and he doesn't sing it, he just says it. So, what would you like to do? Would you like me to do phrases so that you can also sing it, and then sing the whole, like put it into little phrases and then do the whole line? Would that be helpful? You don't know. Well, I'll try it. I'll try doing little phrases, and then you can repeat the phrase, and then we'll do the whole line together. It's quite complex. The first couple of verses are really long like this. And of course the first line we already know. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All right. Janmad Yasya Yato. Janmad Tasya Yato. Anavayad Itarash Charteshva. Anvayad Itarash Charteshva. Abhinya Svarat. Abhinya Svarat. Janmad Tasya Yato. Anavayad Itarash Charteshva. Abhinya Svarat. Janmad Tasya Yato. Anavayad Itarash Charteshva. Abhinya Svarat. All right, the next line. Tenne Brahma Hrida. Tenne Brahma Hrida. Ya Adi Kavaye. Ya Adi Kavaye. Muyanti Yat Suraya. Muyanti Yat Suraya. The whole line. Tenne Brahma Hrida. Ya Adi Kavaye. Muyanti Yat Suraya. Next line. Tejo Varimradam. Tejo Varimradam. Yata Vinamayo Yatra. Yata Vinamayo Yatra. Tri Sargo Mrisha. Tri Sargo Mrisha. And the whole line together. Tejo Varimradam. Yata Vinamayo Yatra. Tri Sargo Mrisha. And the last line. Dhamna Svena Sada. Dhamna Svena Sada. Nirasta Kuakam Satyam. Nirasta Kuakam Satyam. Param Dhimahi. Param Dhimahi. And the whole line. Dhamna Svena Sada. Nirasta Kuakam Satyam Param Dhimahi. It's not so bad when you break it up like that. All right, word for word. Om, O my Lord, Namaha, offering my obeisances, Bhagavate, unto the personality of Godhead, Vasudevaya, unto Vasudeva, the son of Vasudeva, or Lord Shri Krishna, the primeval Lord. Janma Adi, creation, sustenance, and destruction. Asya, of the manifested universes. Yataha, from whom. Anvayat, directly. Ittarataha, indirectly. Cha, and. Artheshu, purposes. Abhinyaha, fully cognizant. Svarat, fully independent. Tene, imparted. Brahma, the Vedic knowledge. Hrida, consciousness of the heart. Yaha, one who. Adi Kavaye, unto the original created being. Muhyanti, are illusioned. Yet, about whom. Surayaha, great sages and demigods. Tejaha, fire. Vari, water. Mridam, earth. Yata, as much as. Vinimayaha, action and reaction. Yatra, whereupon. Trisarga, three modes of creation, creative faculties. Amrisha, almost factual. Dhamna, along with all transcendental paraphernalia. Svena, self-sufficiently. Sada, always. Nirasta, negation by absence. Kuhakam, illusion. Satyam, truth. Param, absolute. Dhimahi, I do meditate upon. So plate 5 up on our slideshow here is referenced to this verse. I offer my obeisances unto Lord Shri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, who is the supreme, all-pervading personality of Godhead. I meditate upon him, the transcendent reality, who is the primeval cause of all causes, from whom all manifested universes arise, in whom they dwell, and by whom they are destroyed. I meditate upon that eternally effulgent Lord, who is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and yet is beyond them. It is he only who first imparted Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahma, the first created being. Through him this world, like a mirage, appears real, even to great sages and demigods. Because of him, the material universes, created by the three modes of nature, appear to be factual, although they are unreal. I meditate therefore upon him, the absolute truth, who is eternally existent in his transcendental abode, and who is forever free of illusion. Purport. We're not going to get through this whole purport, so when it gets to be in 10 minutes, I'll stop. Obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Vasudeva directly indicate Lord Shri Krishna, who is the divine son of Vasudeva and Devaki. This fact will be more explicitly explained in the text of this work. Sri Vyasadeva asserts herein that Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, and all others are his direct or indirect plenary portions, or portions of the portion. Srila Jiva Goswami has even more explicitly explained the subject matter in his Krishna Sandarbha, and Brahma, the original living being, has explained the subject of Sri Krishna substantially in his treatise named Brahma Samhita. In the Samaveda Upanishad, it is also stated that Lord Shri Krishna is the divine son of Devaki. Therefore, in this prayer, the first proposition holds that Lord Shri Krishna is the primeval Lord, and if any transcendental nomenclature is to be understood as belonging to the absolute personality of Godhead, it must be the name indicated by the word Krishna, which means the all-attractive. In Bhagavad Gita, in many places, the Lord asserts himself to be the original personality of Godhead. This is confirmed by Arjuna and also by great sages like Narada, Vyasa, and many others. In the Padma Purana, it is also stated that out of the innumerable names of the Lord, the name of Krishna is the principal one. Vasudeva indicates the plenary portion of the personality of Godhead, and all the different forms of the Lord, being identical with Vasudeva, are indicated in this text. The name Vasudeva particularly indicates the divine son of Vasudeva and Devaki. Sri Krishna is always meditated upon by the Paramahamsas, who are the perfected ones among those in the renounced order of life. I'm sorry, I'm looking at chat. Yours is different? Your translation is different than... Oh. Okay, well, I'll check the version that I'm using. I think that I'm using one of the more original ones, but I will check. Thank you for pointing that out. Vasudev, and you can see there it's a long A, V long A, or Lord Shri Krishna, is the cause of all causes. Everything that exists emanates from the Lord. How this is so is explained in later chapters of this work. This work is described excuse me. This work is described by Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya as the spotless Purana because it contains the transcendental narration of the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. The history of the Srimad Bhagavatam is also very glorious. It was compiled by Sri Vyasadeva after he had attained maturity in transcendental knowledge. He wrote this under the instructions of Sri Naradaji, his spiritual master. Vyasadeva compiled all Vedic literatures containing the 4 divisions of the Vedas, the Vedanta Sutras or the Brahma Sutras, the Puranas, the Mahabharata, and so on. But nevertheless, he was not satisfied. His dissatisfaction was observed by his spiritual master, and thus Narada advised him to write on the transcendental activities of Lord Shri Krishna. These transcendental activities are described specifically in the 10th canto of this work. But in order to reach to the very substance, one must proceed gradually by developing knowledge of the categories. It is natural that a philosophical mind wants to know about the origin of the creation. At night, he sees the stars in the sky, and he naturally speculates about their inhabitants. Such inquiries are natural for man, because man has a developed consciousness which is higher than that of the animals. The author of Srimad Bhagavatam gives a direct answer to such inquiries. He says that the Lord Shri Krishna is the origin of all creations. He is not only the creator of the universe, but the destroyer as well. The manifested cosmic nature is created at a certain period by the will of the Lord. It is maintained for some time, and then it is annihilated by his will. Therefore, the Supreme Will is behind all cosmic activities. Of course, there are atheists of various categories who do not believe in a creator, but that is due to a poor fund of knowledge. The modern scientist, for example, has created space satellites, and by some arrangement or other, these satellites are thrown into outer space to fly for some time at the control of the scientist who is far away. Similarly, all the universes with innumerable stars and planets are controlled by the intelligence of the personality of Godhead. In Vedic literatures, it is said that the absolute truth, personality of Godhead, is the chief amongst all living personalities. All living beings, beginning from the first created being, Brahma, down to the smallest ant, are individual living beings. And above Brahma, there are even other living beings with individual capacities. And the personality of Godhead is also a similar living being. And he is an individual, as are the other living beings. But the Supreme Lord, or the Supreme Living Being, has the greatest intelligence, and he possesses supermost inconceivable energies of all different varieties. If a man's brain can produce a space satellite, one can very easily imagine how brains higher than man can produce similarly wonderful things, which are far superior. The reasonable person will easily accept this argument, but there are stubborn atheists who would never agree. Srila Vyasadeva, however, at once accepts the Supreme Intelligence as the Parameshvara. He offers his respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Intelligence addressed as the Para or the Parameshvara. So Parama is the Supreme and Ishvara is the controller or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that Parameshvara is Sri Krishna, as admitted in Bhagavad Gita and other scriptures delivered by Sri Vyasadeva, and specifically in this Srimad Bhagavatam. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that there is no other Paratattva, Summum Bonum, than himself. Therefore, Sri Vyasadeva at once worships the Paratattva, Sri Krishna, whose transcendental activities are described in the 10th canto. So I think we'll stop there. That's a good stopping point. Next paragraph is kind of long, so we'll stop there. Any questions or comments? Bhaktiville says, okay, this will be fun. I hope. Of course it will. Of course it will. We'll get through so much each week, and we'll have time to discuss. We'll get to look at the verses more closely, word for word, and wonder about their meaning through the week. And this will be great. This will be great. Thank you so much for this. I enjoy reading, and I especially enjoy reading here in Bhaktiville. Bhaktiville says, almost everything is in this one canto. Yes. Bhaktiville says, thank you, and Hare Krishna. Thank you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.